And now we're going to just continue here. We've got Baba Kofi joining us here. Baba, welcome.
Thank you.
I don't know where to begin here. I know you guys, you got a ride with her today, didn't you?
Yes, we did. She did.
We had a Merkaba together. Can two people fit in a Merkaba? We need to ask Camilla that.
It's a Ford or a Chrysler?
I think it's a Mercedes.
Oh, okay.
SUV.
Okay.
So more people can fit with us, right?
Well, you know, I think more people can fit on the wind.
Yes, this is true.
Right?
This is true.
It's totally open.
Yes.
Now, come on, you guys. You were having, I know,
An amazing
I had to go and
discussion.
get coffee, but you guys were having a conversation.
Not Kofi, you had to get coffee.
Well, I make two cents on every cup that you drink.
You do?
Yeah, from everybody who drinks around the world, they pay me 2 cents per cup.
So it's a take on coffee beans. Kofi, Baba, Kofi is coffee beans.
That's right.
Well, you learn something new every day, don't you?
Okay.
No, seriously, what were you guys talking about?
Okay. Shall we let him in on the Kofi?
Yeah, please.
Okay. We were actually just talking about how the world is changing. And actually, we were talking about how some people are moving forward in actually taking forward, Camellia, the discussion on the whole moving forward and ascension. But from a different perspective, we were talking about how people are fearing doing this, and some people are embracing it. So we were talking about the differences in that. And that's what, and you had said, basically, you said something really profound. So profound, I can't remember.
Wow.
You say a lot of profound things that just keep me in awe, and I just totally go into some other reality, and I just forget what he says.
Well, one of the things I said was that adversity is an opportunity. It's not something to be afraid of. It's something to be embraced, right?
Yes.
Because
Let's hope so.
it is. Because what it is that it's like the person of your dreams coming into you and wearing a mask, an ugly mask to scare the hell out of you, right? So if you are not really totally rooted down that you really want this, you see the mask and then you're going to run away. But those who persist, who wait it out, who persevere, once they pass all the check marks, and then the goodness that adversity has is brought home to them. You know, so that is what it is.
And we were talking a little bit about how some people move forward, and it's like sticking their toe in water, and then they run back because they're so afraid, and then it takes them years to come back again. To move forward and have the courage to kind of move into that whole Merkaba state, or that, you know, clearing the way so that you get the goodness that is truly who you are. But usually it's in a point of such desperation that the door behind them is closed and there's only one way forward, and that door is closing in, and we have to go forward. Right? Does that make sense? That's what we were kind of talking about.
Well, that makes a lot of sense, because everything has a gestation period. Whatever. If you want to have a baby, you got to carry the baby to term, 9 months, right?
Right.
It's a gestation period. And in terms of the life experience, also to moving on to a higher condition to experience, you have to mobilize your will, inner will, to do something dramatic. And if you are not ready for that will mobilization, or your gestation period for the mobilizing your will is not there, you go to and fro until one day, out of the blue, you say, well, you know, to heck with it. I'm going in, all in.
You go. He was saying we go for broke.
Yes.
And then I said that's because we're broke that we go for broke.
Or because the door behind you to escape is closed now, so you only have one way out.
It's a one-way ticket.
Go forward.
That makes sense. That's kind of cool, eh?
That makes sense.
So go ahead.
Well, but Baba, okay, so, you know, here you are, you're saying all these great things, but let's find out a little bit about you, because from what all I know really is that you've got something called the Green Pastures Society.
Yes.
But maybe you can just give us a little bit, you know, what's your story to have started the Green Pastures Society and to be here today?
Well, you know, what's my story? Yeah, Green Pastures is the result of a lived experience. Living in a shelter for 2 years to experience what people who are in transition in life experience.
So you purposely did this?
Yes.
Okay.
I lived in Maxwell Megan shelter at Queen and Sherbourne, downtown Toronto. I live in a room with 6 people, and you got to check out by about 8 o'clock in the morning, and you can only get access to the room at 4:30 every day, whether it's raining, snowing, or whatever, you got to get out. So I went through the homeless experience, what people who are homeless experience. And I wanted to understand what did that journey entail.
What the what, sorry?
The journey of the homeless person entail.
Right.
What they encounter on their day-to-day existence. And there's something called the homeless maze. That is how people who are homeless survive, or living in shelters or living on the streets. I wanted to experience that. So I took 2 years to do that. And then from there, I move on to the next level of the experience, which you call supportive housing. And then also live among them. All the while learning about their challenges and then mobilizing my skills to help them. And out of that, what I found out from that experience is that many of them are not aware of supports that are in place to help them deal with life.
Okay.
So my challenge now became to create what I call the service infrastructure so that it can assist them in the process. Where I am right now is that I'm about to scale up. Scaling up entails I have converted a lot of the service requirements into computerized processes that will connect low-income people in transition to their supports, financial supports, non-financial supports, which billions of dollars go unclaimed every year. So that's where I am at right now.
So, I mean, it's to me, it's a disgrace that there's homelessness in this country.
You're right.
And it seems to me that the problem is worse now than it used to be. You know, in my recollection, there was a time when I was not aware of homeless people. I'm sure there probably always were, but I think the numbers today in Canada and the U.S. are far greater than they were, say, in the 60s or the 70s or any time since the Second World War.
No, you're right. But I also want to bring this point across that I'm not only dealing with homeless people, I'm dealing with the whole range of people who are identified to be part of the 99% as opposed to the 1%, right?
So you're talking even people who are not homeless, people who are just struggling to make ends meet?
Absolutely. People who are called working poor. People who
working poor.
People who get about their lives on a daily basis. They pay their rent. They do all these things, but somehow they are only about 2 paychecks or 1 paycheck away from being on the street.
Yeah, and
which
that's
is
also
a large sector of the
for
population.
sure, and that seems to be a bigger number than it used to be as well.
Yes.
People talk about the middle class disappearing, and that is true. And I think people who are around now, like their parents, had better lives in a way than this current generation.
You are so right.
And I'm wondering if you have any ideas why this is the case, and what the real solutions are.
Well, you know, the story about humans on Earth is a story of people in the ancient times. You had the elders in the community who look out for the rest of the community. In our age right now, the elders in our community, those are people who have made it, have more wealth or whatever it is. They are more professionals and so on and so on. What I've noticed is that their sense is that I've made it. I take care of me and my family. So you go make it on your own.
Okay.
You know, so it's there is a disconnect. There's an article that came in the United States press that talks about the rich people going rogue, right? That they've renounced that responsibility to create possibilities for the rest of society, right?
Yeah,
Right.
And it's like
They just said, the rest of society is holding us back. We're paying too much taxes.
Right.
We want tax cuts. Yeah. We want to be on our own and let the rest of them take care of themselves.
It's like that whole Ayn Rand philosophy.
Yes.
Objectivism.
Absolutely.
And we're going to have actually somebody from the Ayn Rand Society on the show in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
But it seems that philosophy really has been, taken in by the super rich class, the 1%.
Yeah.
But it's the 1% that got rich on the backs of the 99%.
Well, you are so right. And in fact, I believe that the 1%, they're really powerless. The only person who makes them powerful are the 99%. But the 99% don't understand the basis of their own power, right? That the emperor has no clothes.
Well, and you see people, like I just, as I was mentioning earlier in the show, I saw that movie, the Thrive movie, with Foster Gamble, and that's what he's saying in the movie. And a lot of other people. He
comes from a very privileged.
Sure he does. But he's saying, like a lot of other people are saying, they're pointing at the 1% and they're saying, you're only 1% and we can take this back. And yet, I don't see the mechanism by which the 99% will reassert their power and create a society that's just going to be more fair.
Well, see, I see it happening all over. You don't see the mechanism, but I
Wait, I'm getting a call, Sandra. I know I'm doing a show right now, but somebody's calling me on the phone. Wait a second.
That's that 1% that wants to keep this conversation quiet.
Wait, see?
But wait a second. What do you think what's happening in Kiev is all about? What do you think all those Occupy movements are all about? What do you think what Kofi's doing with Green Pastures Society is all about? Isn't that?
I don't see that having an effect yet. And Kofi, I'm interested in your opinion. Like, what can really have an effect? Because I don't think we've seen it yet.
No, basically, we have the beginnings of that manifestation, right? Number one, for a long time, people look to the so-called 1% to create solutions for society.
And to save everybody.
That is the compact that we had. We're going to give you certain goodies, certain privileges, but then you do certain things that will take care of the rest of us. Now that compact has been broken, and we are now waking up to that reality. So now people are saying that Occupy movement and so on, they are saying that, hey, something is wrong here. And out of that new reality is going to emerge new solutions. Green Pasture is one of those new solutions, right? Because we realize that the government just gave the rich people and corporations $3 billion in tax cuts. The question that is being asked is, where did they get the money to fund that? They got the money because support programs and everything for low-income people and so on are not being utilized. So the government has more money to fund the tax cuts. Okay, so now Green Pastures program is to make sure that every family that is entitled to something gets it.
Okay, but the answer surely is not just access to government programs that are redistributing income.
No.
The answer must be somehow that we create an economy and an economic system that allows everyone who wants to and who is capable of doing meaningful work so that everybody can contribute to society.
You are right. Basically, for a long time, like I said, there was a compact that this person did that and these people did this. So the whole realm of innovation, creation of opportunities and everything was left to the 1% to create. And we're going to be the workers to bring the goods and get everybody employed. Right now, what they are doing is more or less a casino shell game, making money without having to meet the responsibility to the bigger society. Okay?
Hence that big gap we're seeing.
Hence that big gap. So now, those of us who are suffering from this new reality are now going to become innovators. Innovators.
By desperation.
By the circumstance. Things that we never wanted to do in the first place, we are now going to start taking care of our own.
This is the adversity to opportunity.
That is the adversity to the opportunity stuff that I'm talking about. That out of these difficulties that is going on around the world, it's going to become new opportunities.
That will be created by the people.
The people.
Okay.
No longer because they want to work for somebody and get a paycheck and be dumped the moment they make mistakes and so on and so on. That is, the company makes mistakes in their decision-making process and you are dumped and flushed down the pipe tube and stuff like that.
our first guest, Jeff, wouldn't he be an example of what he's talking about? Because Jeff is really working towards community energy programs that are renewable and sustainable within the community.
I would think Jeff falls into that category for sure.
But he, like, to your point, is facing a lot of adversity by the powers that be, right?
Yeah, as are a lot of these innovators, right,
Absolutely.
Kofi? I'm sure you're facing some adversity in trying to put forward the Green Pastures Society.
Well, yes, but luckily for me, our program is self-sustaining because when you recover dollars for people who had $0 before, our fees comes from the dollars we recover. So we don't have to go to any government body begging them to fund us.
Oh, so do you get paid by the government bodies, or
No, we don't get paid by the government bodies. We get paid by our clients because of the resources that we bring to them.
Okay. Do you think we would qualify for any of this?
Yes, we've had discussions in the background. The moment I walked into this place, I said, "You're doing great work. You have some hidden treasures that you may not know about that will have to put you through that kind of checkup."
Plus, you know what?
Okay.
If he went into the government, would you say no to him? Come on.
Well, that's their job to say no at the government, right? They can't make any decisions, might make a mistake, and can't take responsibility for anything.
Actually, we should actually have him work with Jeff, because Jeff actually might actually help Jeff. Because learning the ins and outs, right?
Well, that's what we're here for, to connect people.
Yeah.
So Kofi, but
now this is only one project Kofi's working. Green Pastures, you were saying, is just one aspect of Kofi.
Yes, of course. Green Pastures is just one item. I have another organization or another project called Universe Africa. Universe Africa basically celebrates the cosmological traditions of mankind, knowing that we are universal beings and not what I call workers, or to be oriented in a certain kind of direction, which is really putting the world in a different kind of pathway to better times, So
what are you doing with that when you say you're universal beings in the cosmos? And can you explain a little bit in English human terms?
Yeah. Okay. This is the way I look at it. I posed a theoretical question one time to myself. I said, if you have to travel, there's a crisis on Earth, and somehow we all have to vacate the planet. What is the one thing that you need that I would like to keep? The only thing that I would like to keep, because you cannot take everything with you, right? And I said, it's the traditions that links us up from people on Earth to being citizens of the universe. Wow. Those human tradition, and every culture has that. Mm-hmm. Wow. Every culture has that. Now, that is the only thing you need to keep. None of anything else.
So can you give me an example what that would be for you? Because I don't know what that would be for me.
I know what it would be for me.
I have no idea.
You do know. The traditions, I look at it and I can give you a simple tradition. This is the tradition of the count. 1 to 9, 0 to 9. That's it. It's in your hands, right?
Right.
They are equal and opposite. That's it. That's the reason why we have this, to remind us of that tradition. So that regulates everything that manifests in the universe.
Yeah. Plus the 10 days of the week. The 10 months of the year.
Yes.
Okay, so you're in a totally different reality. What would you take with you, Hugh?
I would take a 4 terabyte hard drive filled with music and all my music and some videos.
Could you take that?
And my documents.
Well, of course.
That's my culture.
That is what he wants to take. That's and because that's how he reconnects himself with the universe. So
okay, I'm taking my animals. That's it.
No, but you only remember you got to take something that maybe
it's
less than a suitcase, right?
Oh.
So what are you gonna take? I'm gonna take the memory of this, just this, because with this I can get to the rest.
Okay, I'm taking my heart.
Yes,
Does that work?
That works. But coming back to the planet, life on Earth, right? Let's come back to the challenges that we are facing right now. We have a system whereby the compact that we've made as a people broken, where Wall Street, Bay Street, the 1% say, well, you know what? We are fine. You take care of yourself. I was just reading an article that came out yesterday, or I think 2 days ago, commissioned by the federal government, which said that for the past 15 years, the middle class, their income increased only by 1.7% in 15 years, whilst the rich, the 1%, they're making 150% or 40% and so on and so on. In the meantime, to make that money, they got to pollute our environment. And they're allowed to do that, right? So if you go and get your blood tested right now, you're going to find about 200 chemicals in your blood. There's something wrong with that kind of deal. We are allowing them to use community property for private gain.
Right.
And polluting us, and we're saying it's okay. And they are thumbing their nose at us. Hello, why are we allowing this to happen? Why are we settling for this?
What are we going to do about it? Realistically, we can't even wear anonymous masks anymore.
You can't?
No.
When did
Remember,
that happen?
we the people, look at what's happening in Ukraine right now, right?
Yeah.
They decided that, they've had enough. I have a joke which says that the prisoner who's in prison has a key in his pocket, but he refuses to put the key in the lock and unlock the cell and walk out, and then keeps complaining that
I think
somebody's doing bad to me.
But like we were talking about the Kofi, I think what it is you have to get so desperate. The people in Ukraine are so desperate, they're willing to risk their life, and they are. People are dying, but that's the better decision than staying alive the way they're staying alive. I mean,
obviously, there comes a critical point, a tipping point, where people say, well, I'm going for broke, right?
Yeah.
What we have is we accept a system that we thought is going to take care of us, and that system is not taking care of us right now. So now we got to force that issue. We got to change the government to people who are going to respect what we want to achieve. Simple as that.
Okay.
When we vote for people who will hold polluters accountable for their pollution, right?
Yeah.
That the corporate balance sheet or income statement doesn't reflect the true cost of the damage they are doing to our society or our environment.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, but Kofi, I'll be a little bit of a devil's advocate.
Go ahead.
Okay, because we got, I don't know what's going to happen. We're going to have an election in a couple of years federally.
Yes.
Harper is changing the voting rules to make it easier for them to stay in power.
Is that what he's doing?
Yeah. Bill C-23.
Did you know about that?
Yes.
Yeah, so that's happening, right? So who are we going to vote for? I mean, the Liberals, they haven't done much better, really, over the years. Who else are you going to vote for? You vote for anybody else, you're going to just split the vote, let the Conservatives get back in. They're certainly not going to help the situation. And then you got situation like, say we did elect a government that would do what you're saying, hold the polluters accountable. Well, the polluters are just going to say, well, guess what? We're going to close our plants in Canada down. We're going to go to Brazil or Mexico or someplace that doesn't have such strong pollution legislation. I mean, it's just...
So maybe we will have our own revolution, like a Kiev, like in the Ukraine. Maybe not as violent, maybe.
But even in Ukraine, even that situation, it's like the Russians. The Russians are...
Anyway, let's not go there.
I'm just saying, they're trying to... Like the Russians are keeping Ukraine down because they feel they don't need Ukraine, own Ukraine. I mean, they're not easy answers, Kofi.
Well, they are not easy answers, but what we are talking about is the integrity of the commitment that we have made as a society. When you make a commitment and you have a system designed on a certain kind of basis, the rich do certain things and the rest of us do certain things and work in collaboration to make things better. And the other side just says, well, I can make my money. I don't need you. I'm going to pollute this stuff, and I'm going to do this kind of stuff and migrate from country to country. And really, the 1% around the world, They are in clique together. They meet all the time. They do all that kind of stuff. But the rest of us are not in clique together.
Yeah. And in fact,
that is what the problem is, right?
And when we do start to have these discussions, we get into arguments over how we are going to do this or something.
Well, this is it. This is it. We have to now emerge. We have to evolve into a whole new higher level to understand that our problems that are in Canada for the 99% is the same as we have in Africa, as we have in China, as we have in Russia, and so on, right?
Yeah.
The moment we ignite that global movement, there's nowhere for them to hide no more, right? Where are they going to go?
Okay, so Kofi, what does that look like? Because I'm all for this.
Yeah.
But how do we ignite that global movement?
Well, first is that, how many times we see them having these so-called G8 or G20 meetings and all these annual meetings that they all have, and the corporations and the big organizations are having it, but the rest of us just don't give a damn, right? Steve Biko said, right? Steve Biko from South Africa said, the greatest, power or tool, quote, the oppressor has, and I'm just quoting it the way he said it, the oppressor has is that the is in the minds of the oppressed. Unless you reach a certain critical point where you have a mobilization of will and you resolve to do certain things, you always suffer the consequences that you are against. Right?
So as long as there's some element of fear, is that what you're talking about?
Element of fear, we just accept the grind of daily living, that we are tired, we are exhausted, we are not willing to invest in our time to bring about change, no change will come.
So we have, in fairness to people who are, trying to make ends meet with families and things like that, the system is such that, and yes, okay, we agree to this, but the oppressed system is such that people are so busy working long hours, they're so tired when they get home, or they have, chores and kids and cleaning, so that there's no more time to do anything, to actually do exactly what you're saying. So for those people, what would we, and that's the majority of people, because time is going by so fast. I mean, I have sisters and a brother and who live those very normal lives, and they barely have time to spend with each other, never mind become aware of these knowledge, these issues. So it's about simplifying and cutting some of that out of our life in order to create room for that activism or advocacy or adversity into opportunity.
Well, so for instance, one of the projects of Green Pastures is making sure that all the supports, monies, and everything that people are entitled to should be able to be accessed, because you put in an information system that people can go into and readily understand everything that they qualify for and they can apply for. We'll be launching a web-based web-based program by March the 5th, that what people are losing, billions of dollars they're losing, they can just access it just like that.
Oh, the government's not going to like you, Kofi.
The government is not doing that, so I decided to do it. Not waiting for somebody else to do it.
They're not going to like you.
Good. So we have to, translate our issues into practical programs on the ground.
Makes sense.
Right? We are not waiting for somebody like a government to do it for us, because they're not going to do it. I tell you, when the 1% wants something from government, they hire their experts to get it. And they pay the price for it. So I have a joke we say is that if I'm a thief and I want to break into your house, I want to know who's going to be more motivated, me, the thief, or you who has something that I want to steal. And every time people tell me the person who wants to steal what you got is more motivated, more like mobilized than the person who has it. So we have to adopt a whole new paradigm. The 99%. We're not waiting for the other side to create possibilities for us, because, the possibilities we give that they have, we create it for them. We go and buy the products that they make. We can produce products that we can sponsor through cooperatives and so on. So why don't we get about doing that? We go and pay the apartment rent You can go into all the apartments. The person who owns the apartment building is not the person living there. The people who are living there are paying that mortgage. So why can't we own the building?
Right.
It's a shift in thinking, right? You just don't accept it because it's there.
Right.
You see what I'm talking about?
Yes. So that shift in thinking, how do you apply that to your daily life?
To your daily life, that's what I mean. We need new service infrastructures or new support systems that are not in place right now.
Okay.
Like, for instance, when I lived in those shelters, those communities, and I found out that they have no place to go to harvest these resources that can help them, I look around and I find out that the people who do their taxes just put numbers on the forms. They don't look at the whole need of the person or the family.
Okay.
So the shift was to have a service that looks at the totality of the need of the family and deliver that service to them, which includes harvesting, support, and resources that is available to them. That's a shift in thinking, right?
Yeah.
And it translates into a new service. Okay. Usually, if we rely on the 1% to create that possibility, we, the people who have the experience that we don't like, we should be the innovators of solutions for our situations. That is something that we don't do. And we got to do more of that.
So for another thing we could do is, so for those people you were talking about who, for instance, are paying rent, and the guy who actually owns the building doesn't live there. So those people could all get together and say, wait a second, why don't we buy our own building?
Absolutely. All it takes, you tabulate all the rents that you are paying, and you go to a banker, you say, hey, we got this cash flow per month.
Yeah.
That's it.
They should buy those houses right off of Toronto Community Housing.
Absolutely. So what I'm saying is that there is a concept that I articulate called hidden treasures.
Yeah.
That within every person's circumstances are opportunities
That's
for their own redemption that they are not aware of. And I'm the undertaker of those opportunities.
All right. That's a good one. That one alone has got me excited.
Well,
Kofi.
This is what it is. So, usually people are saying that I'm in this situation, but I don't want to be in this situation. I want to go somewhere else. And I laugh at them. What are you going to do somewhere else? In your situation, it's your redemption.
You can't get there until you deal with what you got
exactly
going on here.
So I wrote reports from my experience living in the circumstances that I described earlier on, and I presented it at conferences, and I had opportunities to present at government task forces. One of them was the House of Commons Commission on Studying Poverty in the country. Another one was the Task Force on Financial Literacy. And in both of them, I identified a problem that low-income families are encountering, accessing benefits. They doubted that, so they hired an economist to go and verify that.
Oh, yeah.
And a report came out a year later, and it came out, billions of dollars go unclaimed every year.
Yeah.
And it was on every newspaper front page, coast to coast.
Even though you told them a year earlier, right?
That's exactly.
But they had to pay that accountant a lot of money.
Yeah,
that
how much
consultant.
money did they spend
They had to
in that year?
take money out of our pockets to pay that guy a lot of money.
Okay, so they did. But it's a verification that is good for at the end of the day, it was good to understand the reality, right? So now, but since that report came out, nothing's happened. 3 years ago.
Yeah.
So when you owe the government money, they'll be after you. They'll be sending you the envelopes, right?
Yeah.
Day in, day out. And they'll be charging you compounding interest on a daily basis. But when the government owes you money and you don't come for it, the government keeps it.
After you.
And in fact, they put a deadline on most of it. That affects low-income people. That if you don't collect it within this period of time, it's gone. Now, that's a shame. Because many people who are deserving of these supports are people who are challenged in various ways. And once the law is passed, that people who meet these criteria are entitled to this, I think it should be in a trust fund with the government. It doesn't matter when you show up for it. Yeah. It's your money.
So right now, what you're saying, if I'm hearing you correctly, is that right now the system is set up to fail.
A system is set up to fail. In fact, there's incentive for it to fail. So that they can have that slush fund.
Yeah, they'd rather give that money to some consultant who's just going to produce some paper than give it to some person who's, if they don't get that help, they're going to be living on the street.
Because they know that they wouldn't pay any price.
Yeah.
We wouldn't. We'll accept whatever goes, right?
Yeah.
We are content, right?
Especially Canadians.
We are very content. And that is the critical issue that our bigger community of 99% needs to grow out of. Like, they have to emerge, not just waiting for solutions to come in terms of product or services, and they go and give their money to whoever process, but then they got to solve their own problems for their communities, right?
So, okay, so Kofi, if you could tell us one thing we could do every day that could help us switch that shift in thinking that you're talking about to mobilizing and to adversity to opportunity, is there something that you could recommend people to do every day to move them forward?
Yeah, the thing is, any type of issue that you face as a person or family,
Awakening the Illuminated Heart.
Anything that really, cranks you up, gets you upset and all that kind of stuff, basically it's a call for you to become an innovator.
Okay.
It's calling you, the problem is beckoning you to design a system or a solution to it. And once you find that, you create the habit of developing solutions, you become a winner.
You're rewiring your brain.
You are rewiring your brain from being a consumer,
and a victim, right,
to somebody who takes charge.
And it's interesting because, everybody wants to be somewhere else, right? The grass is greener over there, but you got to start from here.
Where you are.
Right?
Where you are.
So change from worrying to warrior to warrior.
That's exactly right. This is the stuff. That is what the 1% is mocking the rest of us with that lack of capacity or ability, apparent lack of ability to seize that moment.
Because we're paralyzed.
Yeah, because they wanted us that way. That was the commitment we made, right?
Yeah.
They wanted us to be brainless. They would take care of everything. But now they say, well, you're on your own. Yeah. So you got to learn how to navigate on your own. So every challenge that you have, right? Like when I was going to school, I threw out this church. I have these discussions with myself. I said, what if I'm of average intelligence, right? And I want to get an A. And the person in the class who's the best student has to study 3 hours to get an A, but because I'm average intelligence, I have to study 10 hours to get an A. The challenge, therefore, to me is that do I have the guts to discipline myself to study for 10 hours to get an A that I wanted? And I said, that was easy. You get what I'm saying? You look at your situation and you trigger what works for you.
You customize a solution from where you're at.
That's it. You don't need to look beyond any other place. Many people don't do that. And that is what really creates the paralysis, an inability to mobilize one's will, to be resolute in your direction, right?
So even getting up in the morning, before you even get out of bed, to say, okay, I am going to look for the solutions.
The solution of the things that affect me or my family. That is something, that's the entry point to everything in life. What is affecting you? So you list the things that are affecting you, and then you have that discussion with your group or your family or friends and say, what can we do about this thing? Once you develop that habit of solving problems, that's what the 1% do for society. They solve problems for society.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, the reason why we stop solving problems for ourselves, because in the earlier days where every person, was hunting for food and everything, everybody was in that mode of solutions. And then they reorganized everything and said, well, you don't have to do that anymore. Come and work with me. I'll give you a piece of paper and then you go spend your money. But what it does is that it stifles ability to solve problems.
So we got lazy.
We got lazy.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
They give us that kind of junk, right? They give us that kind of junk.
We became like a couch potato. Really,
That's right. So we got to go back to those type of things.
So stop watching TV.
Solve problem. No,
except here.
Well, you can watch TV, but you got to understand how to make the TV work for you. This is the whole point.
Create your own programs.
Why not? Right? It's problem solving. That is the whole end of the stuff. I mean, before then, look at all the gadgets that we got here. They never used to be there before.
Right.
But somebody decided that was needed. They fixed it. And because of that, they make a lot of money. They create a factory to produce this. They hire workers and so on and so on, right? Look at everything around you. There isn't one thing that wasn't the manifestation of a will, a commitment, and mobilization of resources to create that magic.
Okay, Kofi.
See, I told you would be like, what do we say after this?
I don't know. But we're just about out of time. But Kofi, I think that is a good place to leave people hanging and let them figure it out for themselves what the next steps for them might be.
Because they do that every day on other things anyway, but they got to make it central to their whole existence. Yeah. Solving problems.
I mean, you have to customize it, right?
Now, I just want to, I'm just wondering if, I want to get all your contact info. If people want to get in touch with you, maybe they, and who are you looking to speak with right now? Are you looking to help people that are maybe stuck in that homeless, or the 99% who are really have a lot of problems? Are you looking for those people, or are you looking for people to join you? Yes. What are you looking for? Well,
this is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for allies in communities where the 99% live, so that we spark that fire, that flame in that community in solving their problems, bringing their support and to the community, so that we, they go on the business of living life rather than being hijacked by this, whatever is around,
Yeah.
So anybody who is feeling stuck?
Everybody who's feeling stuck. Yeah, it's like,
help me to look at it from a solution perspective instead of a problem perspective.
Absolutely.
But also maybe people who are inspired by what you've said here today.
Absolutely. Because I believe, you see, let's look at what the whole thing is. We go and make money for somebody else, and after we make them a lot of money, and they dump us.
Yeah.
So why can't we make that money for ourselves?
And then we can dump them.
Absolutely, because then you're going to see the moment of truth, right? When all of a sudden they cannot have their yachts anymore, their planes anymore, their mansions anymore, they're going to now experience what dislocation is.
Yeah.
Dislocation, right? Being stressed.
That'll be some sweet revenge.
Sweet justice. So that is what I'm committed to.
That's not very loving.
Well, I'm just kidding.
No, he's not.
Remember, we are citizens of the universe before we came into the system of humans, right?
Yeah.
This is what it's all about. And in the economy of God, if people don't know, there is an economy of God. That's what we are living. Right?
Right.
All the resources that we need, it's already been pre-positioned by God.
So we don't have anything to worry about.
No, we didn't, but except that there were some imposters came and they took it over and they said, we got to pay for it now.
Yeah, okay.
Right?
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Wow.
Kofi, do you have a website or something where people can get in touch?
Yes, there is greenpasturessociety.org. And March the 5th, we are launching that new website that will connect people to their government supports and resources and everything, called GPS benefitsnavigator.org.
GPSbenefitsnavigator.org.
And it stands for something. GPS stands for
Green Pastures Society.
There you go.
Cool?
Okay. Kofi, it was great to meet you and have you on the show today. And I think we should be seeing more of you here, either at Liquid Lunch Table or doing something else.
Thank
here.
you. I'll apply for permanent residence then.
Oh, well, you wouldn't be the first. And you probably won't be the last.
Before we go, I have to know, Kofi, are you voting for the mayoral race?
Yes.
Who are you voting for? Can I ask? Do you know yet?
Yeah. Well,
a lot of people are jumping in now. Right?
Most likely, if Olivia Chow runs, I'll vote for her. If she's not there, I'll vote for Karen Stinks. Eh?
Oh, yeah. I'm voting for Sonic Dave.
Yeah, well, that's good.
I know. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks for the good work.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, that's it for the show.
Wow, awesome show.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah, high five.
Woo!
Thank you.
So thanks, everybody. We'll see you next time right here on thatchannel.com. Liquid Lunch.